series and with how it should develop from my standpoint is, if they don't sub in Kai early on, we're going to see Kai a lot of games this series.
Zig's first pick, after seeing a couple of Baron laner bans from Sengoku, Renekton being the answer for Kai, and now Rush. The Lee Sin is not available. We've seen how pivotal that early game champion has been for him setting up the tempo of the early game. But going to the Graves gives you a little bit of scaling power as well as some skirmishes for the mid game.
Yeah, and now I think this is really interesting because I know the Des was talking about it. Where is the Nunu, where the Alistar going to be in terms of priority, right? We're trying to get rid of support picks for Salem and Dejuo, and now looking forward to this, now that the Graves is already out, do we see Rolster go for the Nunu or flex into something a little bit different? I know we saw Camille earlier on, just in the last quarterfinals, playing in the jungle role. If that adaptation is something we see throughout the rest of the knockout stages, it'd be really, really interesting.
Galio also being locked in, a little bit more team fight power. AoE taunts, Hero's Entrance to supply and make that Hextech ultimatum combo. I mean, so far with this 3-man core,
circles. It's the circles comp.
The Venn diagram. I mean, at this point, Doe might just run back, or not him run back, but we might see a Jarvan kind of inspired from some of the other compositions era. TSM. I mean, that was a team that did take a game off of them in their series.
Doing this exact composition.
Exact composition. I wonder if they learned a thing or two. And you have to remember when we were talking to TSM Mikey, talking about how Korea was one of the teams that they scrimmed a lot going into Horizon Cup and even before that.
It was pretty dangerous. And having some backup damage is nice. It does obviously lock in the Ziggs for Isaac in the mid lane, but we're still waiting as to where this Galio is going, right? Whether we're going to pick this in. And when you look at the support matchup, we're talking about Galio versus Rakan. I pretty much favor this for myself. And now for Sengoku, what is their final pick? What are they waiting for Hawk, who has been such a standout member, him and Rush being the two counterpick duo between this team for Japan?
Well, no Jarvan, but you did allude to it before. You gotta have Nunu and Willip creating those snowball opportunities.
It is technically a circle still. You know, you got the absolute zero, which is a huge circle. Exactly. You're doing the charge up. You get the energy ball, unleash all of that. Boom. So still a pretty massive circle comp, but the damage is obviously focused on this Lucian and Ziggs.
Sengoku with their last pick. Gonna be picking in Diana for Hawk. So this means between Dejuo on this Rakan and Hawk's Diana, it's up to them to create the primary engage opportunities for them. Moonfall, quickness, grand entrance, set up the damage, and you can combo that with Graves' burst. And then you have Kai on flank duty. And if you keep them in that CC combo for long enough, then that's enough feathers that you're leaving in, and then you can get massive wave colors throughout.
This will be really interesting, I think, for Sengoku and give us the flavor of what we'll see throughout the series, because this Sengoku comp is relatively short range. Diana's a melee champion. You have Graves, who obviously has very low range. The biggest amount of range is going to be coming out of this Rakan just because how far out he can reach with the grand entrance. Right. And you look at Rolsters, they have so many ways of stopping and engaging, kind of brute forcing you, putting up that stone wall and keeping you into compact areas, right? We're talking about the Nunu from earlier. Ziggs has awesome wave control and ability to kind of control areas. And Galio does the same thing alongside Mattel's Camille. So if Sengoku can't break open that front line, they're going to have such a hard time putting in all that damage.
And I think the interesting comparison between these two rosters, or these two squads, is that Rolster and Sengoku both have late game damage, but they're coming from different places. When you look at Rolster, you have this powerful split pusher in Camille that can also be a team fighter, and as well you have the Ziggs. Whereas you look at Sengoku Gaming, it's the Graves and the Zaya that are trying to put out all the damage, whereas in the rest of the composition, acting as that early bridge, and then playing, you know, borrowing Riku's terminology, playing setter to the ace of Sengoku.
Oh, we're not getting more of those volleyball memes, are we? I'm terrible at sports.
Come on, man. I mean, it's once you get the hang down of it, then it's not that hard to pick up. Also, you can also watch hiking. That's how pretty much
I could do that, or I could just not watch those sports, and instead I could watch some good old-fashioned esports.
Well, we're getting ready into Game 1, ladies and gentlemen. Rolster Y representing Korea and Sengoku Gaming representing Japan. These two teams looking to maintain their tournament lives and advance into the semifinals, where they will face against Thunder Talk Gaming, the other seed from China. As we already see Team Secret advancing, and will be taking on Dakun Gaming in their semifinal matchup tomorrow. So far. Oh, check this out, Dimitri.
Okay, they're just taking away some early Krugs, want to get some experience, get a little bit of gold in their pocket. It's just the mini Krugs, the baby rock monsters. Shouldn't lose out on all that much, right? Like, as you see, they're keeping even in farm. I do want to take a note. We do have some Prime Gaming going on here. Got some random skin chest.
That is correct, we do. Make sure that if you have an Amazon Prime account at home, ladies and gentlemen, you should link your Prime Gaming and Wildrift accounts so you can get some free in-game loot. I know I've gotten some.
Yeah, I got my own free skin. It's for a champion I don't play, but I know that as soon as I can give an ARAM, I'm good to go. I've got a skin loaded up and ready.
So far, it doesn't seem that Doe was deterred, even though there's a little bit of a nuisance of Juan and Dejavu stealing some Krugs away. He's still catching up in XP fairly easily thanks to the passive XP generation, as well as just coming in and helping Isaac push out the wave, also taxing some XP, but this allows him and Isaac to move strongly into the top side of the map.
Lets them kind of play around the map, play around in Fog of War. For me, for Sengoku, I do want to see what they do in this first game because their ability to take early objectives has been so incredibly key for them. And you look at Rolsters, how they play around the top side, how they usually have Baron control, Rift Herald control. That has been in the favor of Sengoku throughout their series. So a good test of fundamentals, and we'll have to see how Rolster and how Sengoku adapt around each other.
Yeah, so far, Sengoku and Rolster, they're not really opting into confrontation. They're kind of like me during the early stages of high school. I don't want to try to meet up with people and face them head on. If I've got problems, I usually just, wait until later once I'm, in senior year.
Yeah, they're staying 6 feet apart. They don't want to interact with each other until
Social
later on.
distancing.
Exactly. They want to stay within compliance with each other. And, just slowly farm. The early game has been explosive for most of group stages, but as we've gone into knockout stages, we've seen such a crazy development when it comes to all the different champions that have been coming out. And I just wonder what Xayah is going to look like in this game. Juan has been a really great secondary carry for this team, but across from him is sitting Luna. And Luna, as a player, has been fantastic to watch. It's the Corki, it's the Lucian, it's all of the Kaisa as well. It's just been, oh man, it's been really, really cool to see.
I mean, I've been a fan ever since I saw him rush Geralda's Grudge.
This is also true.
That was some dang tech.
That was definitely sub-tech.
We're almost 3 minutes into the game, which does put us about a minute before the neutral objective spawning. Rush is on Baron's side of the map, but he's going to get spotted out by the sword, so Rattel knows he can't be too aggressive while he's pushing out this last wave. He already got a recall in, but knowing that this is a bad spot, he's going to pick up some fruit.
Got some honey fruit.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
40 seconds away from Rift Herald and Dragon spawning. Right now, where the junglers are positioned right now, you would imagine that they continue this pattern of not being confrontational, but they're going to take opposite objectives.
Yeah, take a look at this. Everybody from the side of Rolsters, they want to get a reset in. It's 25 seconds before. They want to make sure that they're up on items, up on their waves. So after this will be the time for Sengoku to push out the bottom and top wave, make sure they can set up for vision. They will be a little bit weaker when it comes to the itemization, but depending on which one they go for, it seems like Sengoku are going to back and maybe try to get this first dragon for themselves, as already Rolster inside of the river and ready to go.
Yeah, Salem advancing forward into Sengoku's jungle. And they're going to deny vision away by activating that Scryer's orb. But you already see that Doe is positioning around this dragon, and that's where Sengoku are also looking to meet them.
Luna's in the top side, though, so this should be interesting. They're going to be missing out on their early kind of powerful AD carry and just allowing for them to kind of give up this dragon. Although it seems like both teams, they want to fight around the mid lane. They do have some good key comps, and Lucian is on the way here, so Luna starting up the Rift Herald. This could potentially be a fight for Sengoku if they want to opt in for it.
Yeah, by having their dragon laner solo start the Rift Herald, whereas Rest is showing the rest of the jungle. A lot of damage on the wand, doesn't go down, has the honey fruit there. But because of the way Rolster stalled out this mid-wave push, they get the early jump on the Rift Herald, taking the objective first off the board, and now they have a majority of their members on the Baron side of the map, where they can go and break first turret.
And you know what they also did? Yesterday in their series, or in last games of the group stage, we saw them do this exact situation where they got the Rift Herald and immediately put it into the back pocket of Luna, who on the Xayah carried them to a full 3-game series. It was awesome to see, and we'll have to see if they can kind of replicate that, because they are constantly making sure that the jungle and marksman of Rolster's Y are just always synced up together.
They don't get the Rift Herald out quite yet. Hawk holding it down strong in that Baron lane, making sure that the turret doesn't fall. Sengoku are also able to trade the Mountain Dragon as well. So far, both teams somewhat even on gold, pretty much stable, and we're already seeing item power spikes coming in.
Yeah, you take a look at this. Everybody from Rolsters already has their finished first item, right? It's that Ludens for Isaac. It's the Blade of the Ruin King here for Luna. So it looks like we're going to be seeing more of that utility Lucian build. It's been kind of picker's choice at that point, right? We've either seen a utility between the Black Cleaver and the Serelda's Grudge, or moving a little bit more to that crit for obviously more scaling as the game goes on. It is interesting, right? Because Rolsters, you would think, as we said earlier, did have a really long game time. Previously in the group stage, it was 21 minutes for them to end out a game, but currently, them and Sengoku actually have a tied game score or a game time record. They're both at about 18 and a half minutes.
Both the teams like to go the distance here.
A little bit.
They like to play for lane. I think it was in the words of TJ that Sengoku Gaming really trusts in their ability to win late game team fights. And against Rolster, it's definitely not going to be an easy opponent. I think between Rolster and Team Secret, they have been some of the most amazing late game team fighting teams we've seen at the Horizon Cup tournament so far. Sengoku wanting to stamp their names among that lineup, among that team, and be, like Team Secret, advancing into the knockout stage. Rolster not also wanting to go down without a fight.
There's actually no action. This is kind of, this is a really interesting game just because there's been no kills, but we've been seeing a really great lane play, right? Making sure they're taking control, take priority over the mid wave, and making sure also your side lanes are pushed in so you can go in for these, you know, informed, intelligent plays. It's been a slow game. Everybody at home's like, there's no kills? What's happening?
They're just vibing on the
It's exactly what we were expecting coming in against Sengoku.
You know, sometimes, you know, they're taking the hippie route, you know? No violence, all peace, all love on the Rift, you know? It's all good.
No turrets taken. Doesn't seem like there's any plates that have been taken either. Maybe one in the top side, so...
Everyone's just playing Farming Simulator.
Wow.
Which is, you know, they're kind of handshaking the early stages of the game. And we can go back to the top of the draft. I mean, both Rolster and Sengoku have late game carries that they can funnel gold into and play towards. So it's not like they're missing out on a ton doing...
This might be the play, though, Rafa. I mean, we've got Dragon spawning in the next 45, and you see already Salem is sitting here. Tail of the tape when it came to this matchup was how Salem and Dejuo were going to match up. And if they can make this first play, if they can find an opening for Rolsters, this should be the explosive start for them as they drop the Rift Herald in top lane, split the map, cause Sengoku to have a little bit of panic, see what their reaction is.
Yeah, Doe was running out of time, which is why he was trying to push out that wave. Luna wasn't trying to show to see if Hawk would overcommit and then try to catch him out in rotation. Rift Herald's going to get one charge, but will not break open the first turret of the game. The rest of Sengoku, they were in hot pursuit trying to rotate on over to protect that Baron lane turret. Now they're coming over to the second dragon that is spawning. Rift Herald is also up, but Rolster, they are prioritizing the dragon instead.
Oh, wait a minute, Doe. Dejuo goes in.
He gets the grand entrance, but he's getting exploded.
He's
the
dead.
Inferno Bomb will find him. That's first blood over to the Korean powerhouses in Rolster Y. Sengoku Gaming now on the retreat, taking a lot of damage off the back end.
That's Dejuo down, and that's why we wanted to see the Alistar here instead of the Rakan, not as tanky. And even, I mean, literally wasn't able to use the grand entrance. The ultimate is still available for them. And in the meanwhile, Rush just says, hey, look, we're just going to have to make this trade. Juan, be careful there, brother.
I feel like we've seen that before.
Yep.
Literally Juan almost in a similar spot, almost getting taken down by Isaac, having to force the flash out. Rush in a 1v2, knows that Isaac
really
and Salem
tanky.
is super low on HP, but doesn't have collateral damage, but he's just relying on the raw strength.
Oh, Dejuo!
3-man pursuit by Dejuo! He wants revenge after what just happened a couple minutes ago, Dimitri, but He's not going to get anyone in the return fire, but it does buy enough time for Rush to take Rift Herald.
It was impressive, but no one's there for Dejuo, so you can't really do anything. No one's able to follow up on that. And so as a return, it'll be Luna taking this top tier 1, and the Rift Herald immediately being dropped. Sengoku, they will not get the first turret. They will get a lot of gold in their back pocket as Rattel almost goes down. And this should be at least not 1 plate, but more likely 2 here for Sengoku.
They're rotating the strength of their members over. They still have full HPs on Rush and
that's just turret.
Second turret of the game for the side of Sengoku Gaming. So even though they lose out on first prick, they take the gold lead by taking more strength.
And this is why we've seen for them that the Rift Herald is just such a priority. They are 4th in the tournament for their Rift Herald control. Almost 60% of Rift Heralds that have been in the game for them, they've been able to control. Whereas Rolster, they're just barely right under them. They are in 6th, but we're seeing it able to utilize the Rift Herald, immediately break open the map, and still maintain themselves a little bit of a gold lead. But as we were talking about, Rolsters waiting, confident in their ability to, go for these late game team fights. And it has been, one thing that we've kind of pinned Rolster for is their inability to end games sometimes. So I wonder if they're going to kind of see themselves in this tough position, how do they fight out?
A lot of damage out from Luna, trying to force Hawk back. But Dejuo is waiting in the wings. He pops
Here
the
he
quickness,
is.
looking for the knockup onto 1. Grand Entrance will only connect
Moonfall.
onto Doe. Moonfall follow-up from Hawk gets more burst damage onto the members of Rolster. Why? Absolute Zero tries to buy some time, buy some space. Salem also with the hero's entrance, taking critically low, but won't go down anytime
Look, the rest of the members are here, though.
Oh, God. Rush is here. But Isaac, he's going to try to interrupt him.
Dominus
Throws out the scattered bombs. A lot of damage trying to buy Rush out. Collateral damage over there. Kai in the front line trying to get under the turret, but he goes down. Not enough damage for the rest of Sengoku to follow up on the dive, and Luna comes out victorious.
Sengoku, they just dive a little too far under the turret. They end up going down, and Rattel, he gets matched by Hawk, but that is a fantastic set of plays there for Rolsters, playing on the knife's edge, helping Luna get out of that. Salem's taunt was huge there.
Rolster. It seemed like they were the ones about to be punished after being overzealous on the dive against Sengoku Gaming. But then it was Sengoku that were overzealous as they chased them to the very bitter end. And you can see how close some of these fights are, Alk Battery, because Sengoku are still 2,000 gold ahead despite suffering 2 deaths there.
It's
Or
2
just
deaths. Yeah,
one death.
they've got the dragon. They've got a mountain drake, which should help with some of that damage that is being mitigated. And, on the opposite side, they have themselves the infernal drake for Rolsters. But still, look at the map assignments, making sure that Luna's in a safe position. They have their jungler and Salem playing Fog of War in the river. So this will be another turret for Rolsters. And Sengoku, they're just looking for something. They need to go for this.
Oh, Dejuo trying to follow up onto Isaac with beautiful flash and barrier. Will keep the mid laner of Rolster while alive.
Goes rolling in.
He's coming in. Snowball not going to connect. A beautiful Featherstorm from Juan and a well-timed flash keeps himself alive from the engage. The rest of Rolster positioning around for any other counterattacks. Sengoku will back off.
Without that flash, Isaac does have a target on their back. Same thing with Juan. So if they can take down these key members on either side, that should be the team fight one for either team. Rolsters, however, they just have so much mobility, right? We're looking at Rattel, who is still 0-0-0. He has a small, gold deficit, but in the meantime, that's not going to matter. As soon as he blows up Juan, there's nothing he can do without the Featherstorm and without the flash.
And speaking of gold deficits, Alk Battery, look at where the majority of gold lead for Sengoku is. Everyone is almost dead even or slightly behind Rolster, except for Rush.
There's no Blade Caller. This is a huge cooldown that's gone.
Well, Juan, he's gonna have to be careful if he wants to choose this fight.
He just steals it!
Oh my god, Do just says thank you for the leash, buddy! But now can Sengoku try and find revenge in this fight? Kai onto the front lines, but he's all by himself. Hawk was able to pick up a double kill in the process. Do and Isaac already fallen. Rolster, Luna, can he... Oh, he finds Juan! Okay, Hextech ultimatum, but the stasis will cancel out. Rush is there. The taunt follow-up, but Rush flashes away from it. But Rush will still fall. That's a beautiful Justice Punch follow-up from Salem. Rolster, why pursue Sengoku to the very end under the tower, and they ace them.
Sengoku, they just give him the free opening going into the dragon. They say thank you for the Ocean Drake. The fight is looking very close, but Luna, his perfect positioning, comes on clutch. And with this Axe replay, we'll get to see exactly what happened. I think Do did a fantastic job holding off 2 of the massive damage carries for his team. And while Hawk gets a massive moonfall, look at this, on the flank, lands it onto 2. it's just not enough. Luna is untouched, dashes out. The stun with the exhaust from Kai, it just does absolutely nothing. We get to see the carries of Rolsters really shine in this one.
You know, I preemptively called it was an ace. Kai was the only person that did make it out alive, so technically it wasn't one, but you see the way that Luna was able to freely position, and you called to him that he was going to be one of the important carries to watch in this series.
It's been an absolute pleasure to watch so far, but we need to see a little bit more. We need to see how Rolsters are able to close this out now. The gold lead has swung in their favor. The Baron is up, and they need to be able to take it. That has obviously been something that we talked about just a few minutes ago. Rolsters and their kind of feels like crippling decision-making sometimes where they're unable to make these calls.
Oh god, Isaac has been picked! Stasis! He has flash and he has barrier. Can he distance himself? He throws out the Mega Inferno Bomb. Rush is taken down below 100 AC. Collateral damage out from the wayside. Juan flashing backwards as well with the Blade Caller. Both of the marksmen from Sengoku Gaming will not go down. They have to back off and they're going to lose pressure on this map.
They get one kill, but at what cost, right? We're talking about the map pressure. That's the turret down. Now they're going to even take more of the jungle camps that are in a top side, kind of exert some vision pressure as well, fix their waves. Sengoku, it's a nice little catch, but all you get is the flash. If you can make a return investment on that, that's awesome. But Rolsters are still in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, Rolster, for the first time, we're seeing a significant gold lead from the Korean squad. 3,000 gold ahead. For so long, Sengoku were just slowly inching above them. Now, the rest of Sengoku are traveling as a three-man core, making sure that no one gets left behind. Good soldier mentality.
They are behind. So at this point, when you are behind this kind of gold and you're this behind in the objective states, for Sengoku, you kind of lose a lot of ability to have say on the map. And at that point, you then just roam around, arms locked, you walk into the river, and you pray that there's no one death bushing. Make sure that you're tanky enough to get out. They do have some defensive, abilities to get out if that were the case, but they just need to make picks at this point. And Salem could be it.
Isaac getting knocked up once again. Deju has been crucial in fighting these picks, but the damage knockup is in there. Look at the counter engage. Doe has them all locked up in this absolute zero. The hero's entrance right on top is the death sentence on top of multiple members of Sengoku Gaming. It's just easy cleanup for Rolster Y to lock down each member of Sengoku Gaming, and that's the official ace.
There we go. Rolsters, bit by bit, take apart Sengoku Gaming. Everybody falls down, and is the aggressive tendencies of Luna dashing forward, using the Proto Bell, something that we haven't seen from a lot of other AD carries, but he has been really keyed in on this boot tech. And that should be the end of the game here, Rafa. Rolsters Y are taking game one.
20 seconds on the clock. There's no way that anyone can defend this. Rolster Y will strike first in this best of 5. One step closer to the semifinals.